What up, Cavs Nation? I'm your host, Ethan Sands, and I'm back with another episode of the Wine and Gold Talk podcast. And joining me today, none other than Jimmy Watkins, cleveland.com columnist. And I know, Jimmy, you've had a lot going on as of late when it has to come with all of the beats that you have to do throughout the summer, especially gearing up for the Cavs season, of course, but Browns coverage, Ohio State coverage. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to kick back, throw on your PS5, and answer some questions about the latest 2K rankings that are now available for the 2K26 game. And I'm going to just start here. How long have you been playing 2K, and is it one of the best games? Is it one of your favorite games to play?
2K is where my heart is when it comes to playing video games. For a stretch there, I got out of it for a couple of years, but from middle school through college, definitely never missed a release. I've built many of my core friendships over that game. To this day, with a couple of my high school buddies, we will play online franchises and rig the playoffs so that we can play each other in the finals. It's just super fun. It's a team build and play fake GM and get frustrated at the game because something about 2K, whenever it first comes out, it takes forever to learn how to shoot. And I love this exercise. I'm excited to start. And it's my favorite video game franchise of all time. But I think we have the history behind Madden. Madden was here first. I think it's tough to objectively call it the greatest game of all time, but it's certainly how I choose to spend my free time.
I think that's fair, and especially because of your love for basketball, as everybody on this podcast is well aware of. But Jimmy, this game has been around for a long time, and this game has obviously helped friendships, broken some friendships, because of the game style, the gameplay. You mentioned my GM. I was more of a my career guy, being able to put myself into the shoes of an NBA player. Obviously, my 5'8" self was not ever making it to the NBA, so it's always fun to see what a 6'3"
It was the height that stopped you.
I'm gonna go with that. It's always fun to see what like a 6'3" version of myself would have been able to accomplish potentially. Unlikely, but for the sake of the game, right? But Jimmy, what is the best 2K that has ever been released? Because I'm between a couple. 2K16 obviously stands out, and 2K12 is up there as well for me. Where do these games stand for you?
I think a lot of these questions, like your favorites, your favorite movie, your favorite basketball player, your favorite music. Not that we don't all have a very personal relationship to our favorite things, but I think it has as much to do with like when you grew up or when you associate good times with as it does to do with the product itself, particularly with 2K because while I do think the franchise has gotten a little worse over time, they are mostly making the same game every time, just with different rosters and graphic tweaks. And over the years, they've made mechanical tweaks, so like how you do dribble moves and how you shoot the ball, whatever. So I guess the peak of my 2K is when I would maybe like the summer between my sophomore and junior year of high school, which would have been that 2K12, 2K13 range. And that's when I was literally building my entire day around when am I going to my buddy's place to go play some 2K. We'd wake up in the morning, we'd hoop, we'd go play 2K, we'd grab some food, we'd go back, we'd hoop. Like that was every single day after school. We're gonna go play a little 2K. I mean, I without exaggeration used every single player in that game in a fantasy draft at some point. I knew the quirks inside and out. I knew the glitches inside and out. I would say something in that range, just because that's when I was in my 2K prime.
I like that, especially because now we're getting to see how glitchy the game can be, right? Because obviously 2K is now incorporating the WNBA in allowing them to be on the same team as NBA players if you so choose. So in the trailer for the game, Asia Wilson is throwing a lob to Bam Adebayo, and they're both in Miami Heat jerseys, which is phenomenal if you get the context of the video. But I just think it's something that has to be worked out in the game, right? Like, how realistic is the gameplay going to be, and how is that going to impact how people are perceiving the game itself? But that's not necessarily why we're talking about this topic today. 2K has been steadily releasing their rankings and their overalls for the newest version of this game for over the last couple of weeks. And Jimmy, the Cavs have had 3 of their 4 core 4 members already released with their ratings. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on where they sit in these lists respectively. So let's start with the bottom to the top. So we have 84 overalls, includes Jared Allen, Norman Powell, Rudy Gobert, Mikal Bridges, Brandon Ingram, and Lauri Markkanen. Jimmy, just first and foremost, while I've been looking at these lists, to me, it's been like, okay, I can understand why there are some people in here. Why are you here? like, especially after Norman Powell had such a great season last year, especially after Jared Allen has been one of the biggest pieces for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And then also in the same graphic at the 83rd overall, 60th ranking, Desmond Bane, which means he's below all the people that we just listed. What do you think about this first little jumble of players and why Jared Allen might be 59th ranked in this new game?
So saying Jared's too high or too low?
I think Jared is reasonably ranked, but I'm not necessarily sure about where these other cats lie.
You can't play like the trade value game with 2K ratings because it's a formula. They're just plugging in different skills, rating different skills, and then the rating is an amalgamation, an average of all of those different skills. So I don't necessarily see anyone egregious ranked above Jared Allen right now, because okay, is Norman Powell contributing as much to winning as Jared Allen? No, but Norm Powell does a lot of things well. Norm Powell's a good shooter. Norm Powell is an above average, and the other thing is he's above average ball handler. The other thing is, now with these games, they're breaking down one skill into a bunch of different skills. So it's not just that Norm Powell's a good 3-point shooter. It's what's your movement 3-point shooting, what's your off the dribble with Norm Powell. That's going to be important. Your off the dribble 3-point shooting. Same with mid range. Same with close range. It's a driving layup. It's a standing layup. It's whatever. I don't know what this. I haven't made a player in a long time, but they used to have signature layup, all that sort of stuff. So I think you have to take these a different look at these. I'm looking below Jarrett. I don't think Kobe White is. I think Kobe White might be an empty cal. We need more. Need more evidence here. He might be an empty calories scoring guy, and he's surrounded by guys like Stephon Castle, Dyson Daniels, Cam Johnson, Miles Turner, guys who win. So I just think that I also think Jared's mostly properly rated, and this is not necessarily a hierarchy of the league. It's like an amalgamation of skill.
I think that's fair. I think more so when I was looking at it, I was like, how is Kristaps Porzingis an 85? Right? Because one, he's a unicorn. Two, he's a guy who disrupts a whole lot for any opposing team, and he's the same rating as OG Anunoby and Scotty Barnes. And obviously OG and Scotty well, Scotty in particular is the franchise player for a developing team, while Kristaps was the missing piece for a championship team, right?
Kristaps finished the year weird.
Yeah,
Like
sure did.
he had the respiratory illness. We hope and think he's over that. I don't mind a little ding because I believe last year he was higher, like in the high 80s. But I don't mind a little ding for that. And then if he's himself again, then they'll boot. That's the other thing about these ratings; they are never permanent. I just feel like they update them at least once a week.
Yeah, because you can get plus minuses throughout the week based on performances. I think that's probably one of my favorite things of the live ratings throughout 2K that they've upgraded is how consistently they're updating these stats for these players. But going into the next one, between the range of 40 and 31, at 40, and he's an 87 overall, Jimmy Butler, 87 overall, is going to be the next few. Derek White, Zubac, Zion Williamson, Darius Garland, LaMelo Ball, Alperen Şengün, Domantas Sabonis, and then Damian Lillard is an 88 overall, and Chet Holmgren is an 88 overall. After you name some names that you might raise your eyebrow a little bit when it comes to not only performances last year, but stature in the league. First and foremost, Jimmy, I'm going to throw you a softball. How do you feel about Darius Garland and LaMelo Ball being the same rating coming into this next game and season?
Well, this is exactly what I'm talking about when I say we're not rating championship pieces here. We're rating skills. LaMelo Ball is a very, very skilled player. His skills are on par with Darius Garland's skills. Now, how LaMelo chooses to deploy those skills, well, that's up to your own discretion, your own taste in basketball players. But the beauty of 2K is you can take LaMelo Ball's circus act and turn it into winning basketball. You can be the man behind the controls. I actually don't have that much of a problem with that. And I kind of price in with players like LaMelo who are popular, not for winning, but for being in highlight reels. They're gonna get a little video game boost. I don't have an issue. Like, you gotta take your old man hat off when you're talking gaming here. And the Damian Lillard thing, it's a respect thing. I think it's a legacy thing. He's not gonna have an Achilles injury in the game, so I don't have much of a problem. I'm not podcasting very well right now because I'm in mostly agreeable to most of this stuff. I don't think Alperen Şengün is better than a few of the people he's in front of. I think Darius could be ahead of him. I mean, Zion as an 87, sure. He feels like an impossible player to rate right now. I mean, the durability better be pretty low on that guy. Other than that, I think they're getting this science down pretty well. I don't have many major beefs here.
I think the one that stands out the most to me is Sabonis, just because of, again, I'm looking about this the wrong way probably, but how he impacts everybody around him. Like, he is the mini Jokic. Like, you have a triple-double as easy as possible with him. Also, how he orchestrates the offense, scores the basketball, gets rebounds. There's a whole lot of different stacks when we're talking about the attributes of these players that I think could be helpful to Sabonis' case to be higher, to be rated higher, ranked higher, whatever you want to call it. Because currently he's an 87 and ranked 33rd in the game. So I just think that there's obviously room for him to grow because of the players around him coming this season, but also just understanding what he brings to the table. And obviously ball handling might be a little bit lower for him. He's not the best ball handler, but he's a great passer.
But who should be ahead of them? We can't just say make him higher. Let's we gotta knock somebody down.
I would put him ahead of Chet on this list.
Oh no.
You don't think so?
There's two sides of the court. There's two sides of the court.
Cheat code in 2K. Chet should be a cheat code in 2K. But
there's two sides of the court, man. Chet Holmgren is one of the best defensive players alive. Domantas Sabonis, to put it kindly, is not. I think they are probably, like, Chet is a better offensive player than Domantas Sabonis is a defensive player. And they're ranked pretty closely together. And Sabonis is awesome, man. I mean, he is the hub of Sacramento's offense. I wonder what their ceiling is with him as their best player. But I don't necessarily think it's his fault that they've drifted back into mediocrity. He's an awesome player, but and then again, in the video game world, this guy Chet just won the title, so there's gonna be some, if there's a little overzealousness on overzealotry, I don't know that word, on Holmgren for this game. I'm cool with the championship bump, but I think Chet is a better basketball player than Sabonis, no doubt. And I think in the 2K world, I think his defensive stuff it makes sense that they're on even footing.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You think of these players that are like supposed to be known names around the league, and I think Chet not only proved himself in the playoffs, especially after people were kind of trying to write him off after how some series began. So I think he definitely deserves credit, and I'm not trying to take away from his basketball ability at all. I just think Sabonis is a little bit more proven when it comes to just regular season games, but also understanding that he has a more balanced game than Chet, especially when we talk about offensively. Defensively, you're absolutely right. I put Chet in the conversation with probably Evan Mobley and Victor Wembanyama as some of the best defenders in the league. But speaking of Evan Mobley, he's in this next chunk of players, 30 through 21. He is rated 89. He is an 89 overall, and he is ranked 26th overall in the game. So here are the players that have the same overall rating as Evan: Jaren Jackson Jr., James Harden, Pascal Siakam, Paolo Banchero, and right below them is Bam Adebayo at 88. Oh man, this is a star-studded list. And right below them for 90 overall is Kyrie, Trae Young, Jaylen Brown, and Jalen Williams, J-Dub from the OKC Thunder. What do you think, Jimmy? Are they getting Evan Mobley right? Are they putting him too high with some of these players that are more proven? What's your thought?
I have a couple thoughts here. I mean, this is a really tricky. This is where you have to kind of trick your brain, because I would say probably not Paolo, but other than Paolo, Kyrie, Trae Young, Jaylen Brown, Jalen Williams, Devin Booker, Tyrese we'll put to the side because he's hurt, Kawhi. I think all of those guys, it's kind of a no-brainer. Their teams would trade them for Evan Mobley today. It's not the exercise. We're not playing trade value. So I'm trying to wrap my head around them all being ahead of him. Skill-wise, I guess I could see how we get there with Kyrie. Skill-wise, I guess I could see how we get there with Trae. Again, there are two sides of the court. I would love to see some of the defensive ratings on these guys. I just don't think Jaylen Brown's a better basketball player than Evan Mobley at this point. I don't think Jalen Williams is a better basketball player than Evan Mobley at this point. I love Book. I don't think he's better. Kawhi, you need to play. Evan could certainly be higher. Also, this Bam Adebayo rating turned heads a little bit. I think we want to make it. I think Chet could be ahead of him. If you want to make a Sabonis case there, Bam had a weird season last year. I think maybe that's coloring my reaction here, but I think you could drop Bam down a little bit. And Evan, I mean, feels like a 90 to me. I want to say he was a 90 by the end of last year's updates. I think Evan should be closer to like the top 15 range than he is what is he now, 26th? Yeah, Evan could do some climbing. But you know what though? If the way Kenny Atkinson was talking in Summer League means anything, if the Cavs are serious about centering another regular season around Evan Mobley, this will all take care of itself. But that was my initial reaction was, yes, I think he could be higher here.
Yeah, and I think Evan Mobley is going to have to earn that respect, one, by, as you say, Jimmy, talking into microphones, but also just doing exactly what you know you're capable of on the offensive end. Because, again, Defensive Player of the Year, first time All-Star last year, second time All-Defensive Team, add in second team All-NBA. I think you just understand that there's still levels for you to climb, but you've already taken a huge step. And I thought 2K was going to give him more respect for making that jump to be in the 90s club, but I guess they're saving that for a more lucrative group. And obviously, when we talk about that, the 20 through the number one rankings for NBA 2K have yet to be released. But as I mentioned, Donovan Mitchell has not been added to that list yet. We don't know where he's ranked. So, Jimmy, I'm just going to ask you straight up, where do you think Donovan Mitchell should rank on this 2K list when it comes to being in the top 20? Where do you think he should fall? Where do you think he will fall?
I think the answer is kind of same for both. I would say somewhere between 10 and 15. In my head, Donovan is a little closer to a top 15 player than he is a top 10 player. We're splitting hairs there. It's like between 13 and 12. Um, but he he's a perfect video game guy. He's got the handles. He's got the dunk package. Um, he's got there's a lot of value in having like a strength to your game, a strong center of gravity, to be able to bounce off people in the game. So I think I've I've used him in the game several times before. It's a whole bunch of fun. He'll probably be uh, not 90. He'll be like on the high end of low 90s, maybe like 93, 94. And I think that's about right. It's once we get to the top of the top here, it gets even harder to separate video game brain from basketball brain because because a lot of these guys are top 10 players in the NBA. You can make a case that the 2K list is pretty well reflective of the real life list. Although 2K is always pretty favorable to guys like LeBron and Steph. There's sometimes there are some legacy ratings like we saw with Donovan Mitchell. Sure, Kevin Durant will be higher than maybe he should be, but again, I'm not gonna knock them for that. You want the faces of the league to feel like the faces of the league on this game, and they're still all of them are still incredible. Donovan will be somewhere in the 10 to 15 range.
LeBron's not moving like he's 40 years old in the game, right? Like there's obviously stamina that you have to account for, but he's still doing the same dunks. He's still got the same dunk package that he's had for years now. Steph Curry is still going to be shooting from 40 feet and all these things. So I definitely think that has to be taken into account. But who do you think should be, could be, and makes the most sense as the number one player in this year's game? And is he a 99 overall, or how many 99 overalls do you think there's going to be?
Faye's on the cover, isn't he? Of the next one. I
I
mean,
believe so.
he's on the cover. Just won MVP. He just won Finals MVP. I think I'd be pretty surprised if it wasn't him. I personally believe Jokic is the best player in the league. I'd probably take Giannis and let me take a look at my NBA list here. Giannis, and we can have the Luka conversation is difficult because Shea is a better defender than Luka, but Shea also has one of the greatest defenses ever assembled around him. I think Luka would be fine in that environment as well, even if teams would still try to pick on him. And Luka was banged up last year at times, so I'd probably get the Shea nod over Luka right now. But that's the way my brain goes. I'd probably take Jokic and Giannis over Shea if Shea's a 99 and they're both 99s as well. Great. I wouldn't knock anyone for that. Although I think the shooting numbers probably could knock Giannis down a point or two. But if I'm thinking we put this guy on the cover, he just had one of the best seasons of all time. I would think Shea will be the top rated player.
Yeah, that's my assumption as well. And Jimmy, you had mentioned previously just like playing with the Cavs or Donovan Mitchell, and I had the chance to do so for last year's game, and it felt like cheating playing with the Cavs because of the double big situation, because of the speed of Darius Garland, because of the athleticism of Donovan Mitchell. And then coming off the bench last year, you had Ty Jerome, you had Sam Merrill, you had Max Strus. And then especially when they got DeAndre Hunter, you're fixing all the lineup situations and the rotations that you think you could have or should have or would have seen with Kenny Atkinson last year. It's a team assembled that makes a lot of sense together, right? And I think even more so this coming season, I'm going to be playing exactly how Kenny Atkinson wants to be playing, a run and gun style with Lonzo running the ball up the court and throwing lobs to Donovan, or Evan Mobley bringing the ball up the floor and Jared Allen setting a high screen for him and doing a big on big action. All of these things are why I think the Cavs should be one of the best teams in the game overall, a favorite in the game overall, just because of not only who they have, but the play style and how good their defense should be and how good their offense was last year, the number one offense in basketball.
Yeah, it's just real fun to have Evan and Jared back there. And I think the only way I know how to play 2K is try to run off misses, because playing half-court offense is super frustrating. So your Cavs they're a whole lot of fun. I know I've said this before. In 2K25 at least, because that's how I got back into it. That's the first 2K I had bought in a couple years. Max Strus is a sniper, man. There are just certain jump shots that you get the rhythm of. His is very, very smooth. And he has... I've made some small children across the internet cry with Max Strus. It's so fun to use him.
So, like, there's been cheat codes in the game before, right? Like, players throughout the years who just simply play better than they are. Like, Danny Granger is one that comes to mind.
Nick Young, baby. To this day, my PS5 tag is Swaggy Pete for 3.
That's great. Also, Gerald Green used to be insane with the dunks.
They are. I think honestly, there's an archetype here. Like any like microwave scoring sixth man with a smooth jumper, you can put up some crazy numbers with them.
Especially if they have athleticism along with the shooting. Like Darius Smith would do whatever he wanted, right? Because he could legitimately take you to the basket and put you in the rim, or he could just pull up from 30 and be like, okay, well, now get back on defense, because it didn't really matter. I'm trying to think of who that player might be. Obviously, Steph is like that when it comes to shooting. It feels like everything you shoot is going to be green. But
Blake Monk's awesome in the game.
You have the game downloaded already, Jimmy, or what's the situation?
I'm talking 25. I'm talking 25. I don't know anything about 26.
Okay, but are you gonna get it?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Jimmy, for indulging me in our conversation about 2K, rankings that don't really matter, ratings that don't really matter, but can show you what the NBA thinks slightly about the players. We get into this a little bit more in depth when we get an understanding of where players are around the league, what systems they're in, and who they have around them. We'll do that closer to training camp. But this is just a little fun exercise that I thought would help Jimmy take the edge off from having to cover 3 beats at the same time and doing a great job at that. But with all that being said, that'll wrap up today's episode of the Wine and Gold Talk podcast. But remember to become a Cavs Insider and interact with Chris, me, and Jimmy by subscribing to Subtext. Want to send in questions about anything Cavs related? Want to have a conversation about 2K ratings? Want to talk about anything that it has to do with the NBA or just fun summertime things? This is where you do it. Sign up for a 14-day free trial or visit cleveland.com/Cavs and click on the blue bar at the top of the page. If you don't like it, that's fine. All you have to do is text the word STOP. It's easy, but we can tell you that the people who sign up stick around, because this is the best way to get insider coverage on the Cavs from me, Chris, and Jimmy. This isn't just our podcast, it's your podcast. And the only way to have your voice heard is through Subtext. Y'all be safe. We out.